Access to capital is essential to economic opportunity, creating jobs, building wealth, and strengthening communities. Fortunately, since 1985, Native Community Development Financial Institutions, or Native CDFIs, have been innovating Indigenous finance, reclaiming capital pathways that have been historically blocked. For too long, investors have labeled Indian country as high risk for investment, hindering the flow of much-needed capital into Indigenous communities.
There is often assumed risk from not understanding Native peoples, Native markets, and what makes tribal economies work for all of us.
Access to banking has been structurally denied. The geographic isolation of tribal nations shaped by federal policy has contributed to a system where 86% of Native communities lack even a single financial institution within their boundaries. The narrative around risk was never true. For over 40 years, Native CDFIs have led a movement rooted in cultural wisdom, community trust, and proven success long before the industry started paying attention. The Mountain Plains Regional Native CDFI Coalition is reshaping how investment flows, and it's rooted in Native leadership and tailored to the needs of the region. Indian country is not high risk, it just requires unlearning old myths.
As an outside funder again, what is it that you would love to have people like me come into, just sort of the whole funding environment? And what do we need to unlearn really to come in with a full heart?
That unlearning starts right here. By understanding the real strength of Native markets and the Native CDFIs that serve them, Native CDFIs don't just meet industry financial standards, they outperform them. The Mountain Plains Coalition has achieved this through leveraging relationship as a key strategy for risk mitigation and for loan management.
Relationships are a huge part of what we do. We focus just as much on the relational side of lending as the transactional side of lending. We're very intentional about that. We take steps post-closing and pre-closing to make sure that we're building our relationships. And in building those relationships, it helps us to be more proactive versus reactive.
By knowing the borrower and working closely with them, loan officers can structure loans for success and pivot in relationship with the borrower when needed. These investments aren't just working, they're transforming the Native communities and the Native economies from the ground up.
When you work with a Native CDFI, loan officers are from the community and are a familiar and approachable face to the borrowers. As Indigenous finance experts, they have lived experience and know how to get to yes and what will work within their market.
So we do everything based on a relationship and partnership. So relationship with the individuals, but partnerships with our banks and our BIA and our funders and everything like that.
That's what makes Native CDFIs successful. These relationships run deep, from families to funders. When trust is in place, creativity can be leveraged to co-create solutions. In just 5 years, the Mountain Plains Coalition grew lending from $4.6 million to over $26 million, a 463% increase fueling Native economies. Individual Native CDFIs like NACDC know their communities intimately, and they understand how strategic investment directly impacts households, families, and local economies.
Right now, we have, I think, about 20 businesses, but you have to realize too that we're not only on the Blackfeet Reservation. We're all throughout Montana.
My name is Paula Auger, and the name of my business is Paula's All Occasion Gifts. I feel like I lucked out working with DJ because he made it very simple. I didn't feel like I had to do much. He did all the work. They treat you like your family.
When you make an investment into NACDC Financial Services, you not only invest in an organization, you invest in a community.
I was able to afford to buy my grandkids' shoes at the local thoughts here in town because of my business, because I'm making a living off of it.
This is what investing in Native communities looks like: regional growth, family impact, and Native-owned businesses driving success.